up, gets nothing effect. Has that one taken away by Troy Hellman. It seems like this could be.
Hello and welcome to the Overwatch League Recap, a talk show focusing on the Overwatch League. I am Blazing Bob, and today I'm joined by I Play Games. How you doing, sir?
What's up? Doing good, doing good. Ready to talk about this developing meta we've been seeing in the Overwatch League.
Developing meta? You mean like blowing the bleep up meta? Yeah, it's been crazy. And we have Mel. How you doing, Mel? Looking lovely tonight.
Thank you. I'm doing good.
Good. And for his, what's this, the third time on the show, we have our post-match correspondent, Brick McVictory. What's going on, brother?
What's up, guys? Happy to be back. I think this is 3 or 4, something like that. We're getting there.
Yep, you were supposed to come on during the stage break, but, you know, things happen. Sometimes you can't do it, but we thought this would be a great time to bring on a Valiant superfan, because Valiant's looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, we're quite super right now.
It's pretty cool. Well, let's just jump right in. Okay, so to start off the show, we always like to thank our recap producer, Shazir. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of our patrons. I just found out recently that it's not Patreons, it's patrons on Patreon. I never do that.
Yeah, you'd think it would be Patreons.
Yeah.
Because of the name, but yeah, they want to keep it confusing, you know.
Yeah, so I've been saying it wrong this whole time, so my apologies, patrons.
Maybe that's why we didn't get a new Patreon.
Yeah, well, no.
Or Patreon.
We need to redo all of our perks, but we just want to do it right, so we just haven't gotten around to it yet. But that's okay. The show still goes on. Tonight we're talking news as usual. We're talking results, and so let's just jump right into league news. Fisher retires from the league, and on top of it, in true Fisher fashion, I mean, this guy's integrity cracks me up because he just doesn't have any, but he leaks 222 roll lock, like just straight up says, yeah, it's coming in stage 4. So what'd you guys think of this?
He had to get a boon to his, Twitch account. Leaking classified info,
I know, but it's just
a paycheck anymore.
I mean, it's one thing for someone outside of the league to leak something, but for someone to quit and then do that right after, it just seems, I don't know, douchey is really like the only word that I can think of.
I feel like it's very Fisher-esque, right? Like, I don't think he cared.
Douchey.
Well, I mean, I think there's a reason why Fisher is not in the league anymore, right? And it's not because lack of talent. Now, we don't know how his interactions have been in the league, but he has been passed down from team to team like a hot potato, and now he's ended up outside of the league. Granted, I think it was part of his own decision as well. It seems that he wasn't happy, but I also have a feeling that the people that were working with him were not super thrilled either, and that's why it has come down to this. And maybe this last stance that he took speaks a little bit to that attitude that maybe he's had throughout the league. I don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
That's my take.
I think he's mad. I don't know.
I think he wasn't happy because he wasn't playing, but I think he probably wasn't playing because of personal conflicts. I don't think anybody can argue that he wasn't the best main tank on that team.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I can see why, like, a lot of people think he is one of the best main tanks in all of Overwatch still. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of these I'm retiring things, and then come stage 1, season 4, we see he's signed with a team and he's back in the league. There's a lot of teams out there that could use the services of a really good main tank, so it wouldn't blow my
People
mind to see him
keep
come
saying
back.
that, and then they sign Fisher, then Fisher's gone. I feel like he's
Hot
made a
potato.
reputation of himself. I mean, it's not even the end of season 2, and he's been on, 3 teams?
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, like, can't say much more else about that. But I mean, Rascal's on his 3rd team, and he seemed to have found someone to stick with too. So who knows? Maybe this time off he'll figure something out and grow up a little bit. But we'll see.
Needs to go back to contenders like Rascal did and make
Yeah,
make a play for it.
have some time
Gain
to
some
grow.
humility.
Yeah, the problem is I'm sure if he did come back, he would be subject to uh, getting suspended for games because of this leak that he just did. And I'm pretty sure if he signed an NDA, even though his contract was, killed, like they could still sue him.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but I doubt they're even gonna worry about it. Like it was pretty confirmed.
Starting to get to that point where, it was pretty. It was getting to that point where it's starting to become common knowledge. So
Yeah, and like even in some of our interviews, they've answered the question as, well, I don't know how they'll implement 222, not if they implement 222, or you know what I mean? They've just worded it weird, like it's definitely coming too.
yeah, we haven't got a whole lot of Blizzard hasn't come out and said anything about it yet, has they?
Nope.
Have they?
No.
I keep checking
Very
every
No.
morning. I keep checking, and everybody else has posted all kinds of 222 videos, but not them.
I mean,
Yes.
the rumor keeps going on. More and more people have heard about it. So obviously, the teams in the league know about it already. Unless this is like the ultimate April Fools from Fisher over here,
Well,
who's just
seriously,
leading everyone. But I doubt
It's
it,
a
right?
little late, Fisher.
the
Your
greatest, the
window
greatest,
is gone.
yeah, the greatest troll job ever.
That's his vengeance against everyone.
So
Gotcha.
it's
But
some
I doubt
other.
it. But I think it's coming. But something tells me it's not ready because Kaplan hasn't said anything. He was at the league this week, right?
He was there, yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. I don't know when they would announce it. I don't think they would announce it before the Atlanta home games conclude. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
we probably won't hear an official announcement until playoffs. I'm gonna guess.
because I don't think they want to take any attention away from Atlanta or anything else. But I'm interested for sure. This next thing, Avast. If anybody doesn't know Avast, he's a NA contenders caster alongside ZP. But they're trying to rent out a Chuck E. Cheese. I saw this all over Twitter today.
I did see this.
Monty
yeah.
was tweeting at Chuck E. Cheese, was like, I can't find anything on your website, but can we rent out a Chuck E. Cheese for the entire day or something like that? And
They tweeted back at him.
yeah, they
They
said,
responded, and yeah.
yeah.
They're
So
doing 'em.
like, what is this though? I didn't actually see what the Avast Con's gonna be.
To be honest, I have no idea. All I know is apparently Avast is a big Florida Mayhem fan, and he, in his contenders casting, he has like a Chuck E. Cheese moment or something. So that's kind of where the Chuck E. Cheese came from, I
It's
think.
it's like a shtick or something. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I was reading about this. I was like, what is this? Like, I didn't even know. I've never heard of a Vascon, and I was like, what is this? Is this like a legit thing? I was so confused. So
Yeah, I think he's just making it up. But
You gotta give it to Mayhem and its fans, though. Even though they've struggled the entire time in the league, they have one of the best fan crews, and they're willing to do just fun things. The
Yeah.
day Mayhem does good, oh my god, those guys are gonna have a blast.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Not that they're not having already. They're having fun already. I like them.
yeah,
They
they're
even have a website for AvastCon, by the way.
really.
Oh my god, they're serious
Yes.
about it.
Oh
This
my
is
God.
legit. And do you want to know what the activities are?
Yes,
Yes.
please, yes.
Super and Axeman fight to death in the ball pit. Rejected Al trading cards in the ticket blaster. Karaoke
Okay.
with 3-song Andy. Randy finds a vast. Open bar, 2-drink limit. That's not an open bar.
Open bar,
It's a
dude. 2
limited
drinks only.
bar. Killer Bean watch party. Australian clown does face painting. Super in the Shark Tank. Dane's trumpet solo concert.
Super's gonna
Prediction
get
elf
picked on constantly.
Choreography. Crying at the Fisher Shrine. Thorin vs. Slasher. Hell in the Cell.
Ooh, there you
in
go. That's
Oh,
that's
boy.
good.
Extreme eating competition.
I just want the Hell in the Cell match. Let me get that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That sounds like a
I'm
good time.
excited. I'm hoping that they definitely plan on streaming this because it'll kind of remind me a little bit of Monty's wedding, but with a lot more like fun games and tricks and
Yeah.
chaos.
Well, confirmed so far, they have Monty, Avast, ZP, Wolf, Achilles, Sherford, Jaws, Super, Anna. I'm not even gonna try. The Rock, Golden Boy,
Wait,
and
the
G.
Rock,
That's what it says.
not like Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, that's what it says.
The
That'll
Rock,
be hilarious.
you're
Yeah.
That'll be
crazy.
hilarious if The Rock is actually there and
That's
he
gotta be
like
a troll.
Super or something.
Oh my
I
gosh,
mean,
that
the
would.
whole website looks like a troll.
Well, I don't know. They were looking to rent out a Chuck E. Cheese, so maybe it started as a joke and is actually becoming something real. I have no clue. We will
I mean,
keep you up to
sometimes
date.
that's how some of the best things that happen in this league, right? Like they're like, oh, that'd be fun, and then 2 weeks later, like, hey, we're doing the thing.
Yep. So
Why not?
Defiant. Moving on to team news. Defiant.
Wait, there's one
signed-
more thing
Okay,
in
go ahead.
league news that I added later. So we just need to recap real fast that next week at the Atlanta home game, we will not have Dufresne facing off against Britain because apparently it was such a shellacking in the scrims that just wasn't going to work, right? Like,
He couldn't even move
I
when
mean-
Defran
I
had
mean-
200 ping.
Like, what
Yeah.
did we think was going to happen there?
Britain likes to state that he had 200 ping and that's why, but we all know the real answer to that.
Yeah.
But it's changed though.
Right.
Now,
So it changed. So now we have Bren versus Baby Bay in a Widow 1v1, which Bren apparently thinks is closer to his level. I would
Oh
disagree.
my god! So wait, the friend was too good, so he was
Yes.
like, "No, it's off. The
So
challenge
here's
is
Baby
off."
Bay.
they're
Right.
pretty sure it'd be a waste of time.
No, but I think the real reason they did
I
it
would still
is
wanna see that.
because, well, the real reason they did it is because Dufresne is going to have a 1v1 Torb Hammer match off with Megachu.
Hammers only.
Okay.
Hammers
The
only.
two famous Torbs face off, hammer v hammer, mano y mano in the ring. It's gonna be good.
Good stuff. That's all.
My
I'm
money's
excited for
on
it.
Defran. But so, okay, moving on to team news. Defiant signed Mangachu and Logix. And they signed them like really close to their games, and then they played them. So,
Yeah.
or their game. I guess they only played once, right?
No, they played twice.
Did they? And did they play
They
them?
played on Friday and Sunday.
Huh. Yeah. Okay. Well.
They played a little bit. I think Mangachu played like at the beginning on Friday, but I don't think he played all the maps. But him and Logix both played all the games on
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yep. For
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
sure. I
Logix
remember
looked
that
really
one.
good against Houston. Started reminding people why Logix was.
Logix
Yes.
looked
Talked about him last year.
amazing, dude.
I
He had
noticed.
some
Yeah.
pop off moments where you're like, "What just happened?"
Dude, I was
Yeah.
saying that last year, like when he got let go from Houston, or excuse me, Florida. I was pounding on the desk saying someone needs to sign that dude. That dude is good.
I
Well-
think he's streaky is his thing, right?
Yeah,
Like I think
yeah.
he has like
That's fair.
hot streaks and cold streaks where
Yeah,
he
maybe
just
not
couldn't get like,
the consistency's not
consistency.
quite there. Yeah, that's fair.
but it could be
And
better.
not only that, I think he has a play style where he is very sneaky. All the time, he's just sneaking through the back and trying to get like a very sneaky pick on somebody, versus somebody like Architect or oh, am I blanking on the name? Pine, where they play in a place that is almost baity, right? They're not trying to hide themselves too much. They're almost out in the open and they're shooting all very fast. And I think that creates a lot of opportunities for the team because it baits certain people. But these players are
Yeah.
really good at
Create
once
space. Yeah.
yeah, once the pressure is on them, they get out of there, right? But I think Logix plays a very like lone wolf kind of game where he's in the back, and if he pops off, well, he pops off, right? Like he just killed all of the enemy team, and like great, dude, like you're gonna win that match. But even in some battles where you see him get picks, they still don't win that team battle, and it's
Mhm.
because the playstyle that he's playing, the enemy team can almost completely ignore him for a while because he's playing like that. I don't know. That's what at least what I've seen, and that's why I think it's a little bit streaky because he's not demanding attention all the time like some of the other Widowmakers are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and well, and remember, he also had quote unquote personal difficulties last year too. I don't think they ever disclosed what it was, but like speculation was depression and things of that nature, or anxiety possible. So, but like it looks like he's back and ready to play. So we wish him the best and hope that he keeps looking good because they looked good. So also Spark moved No Smite and Bozzy to their academy team. You think they're moving people down to possibly make some moves here before the deadline?
So it's the deadline, the end of stage 3.
It's somewhere
Yeah,
around there.
I think it's at the end of. I think it's at the end of stage 3 regular season, but I'm not. I can't confirm that. I'm not
I don't know
entirely
that they're
sure.
I don't know that they're moving them down to make room as much as I think they're moving them down so that they can still get practice because I think they know they're not going to play them. Right? Spark's got a really good thing going now, and I don't know if they were signed to two-way contracts or if they were just moved down to the team, but it doesn't really help them if they're not practicing or getting any playtime anyways.
From what
Yeah,
I
I mean-
understand, just real quick, the two-way contracts, I guess, can be put on any player's contract that agrees to it. So there could be tons of two-way players that we don't even know that they're two-way because they really just didn't disclose that they were like
Well, I mean,
only a
there's-
few teams did.
There's a lot of obvious ones, like the guys that are playing more than 2 games in a stage. We know that they're not 2-way guys, like because
They
that rule
could
won't
be,
allow
but
that,
they
right?
but they just lose their eligibility for that season of contenders once they play
Oh,
more than 2 games.
So I thought that was like that. Wasn't that the whole issue with the fusions thing? Is that he couldn't play one game because he already used
Right.
up his two games in that stage?
Yeah, you
It's
can only
because he
play-
played in contenders and then he couldn't play in the Overwatch League, so they had to like make a like stipulation for him. But he,
No.
because it goes both directions. Everybody knew about the
Mm.
Overwatch League, and then you can't play the contenders season. But no one really knew about you couldn't play contenders and then come up to the Overwatch League.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think there's still a 2-game max though per stage.
Yes, on
There is, yeah.
either
Side.
side, on contender season or stage. If that
But
makes sense.
they are, I did confirm, they are 2-way players. So
Yeah, the no smite thing I kind of saw coming. Like in the early season, like people were talking about. Remember, like if it was him or Gushue that was the better fit for the team. Like I think a lot of us thought that Gushue was the better actual main tank player.
Definitely.
But no smite just seemed to fit better with the roster, had a better experience. But I think now that Gushue's kind of settled in and
more
gotten
comfortable
more
with
experience
language
with the guys,
too.
yeah, and he knows what the guys are doing a little bit better. I think it's just he's made that team better, and I mean it pretty much it shows they're one of the top teams in the league right now. So
Yep.
it is interesting though. They're going down to the contenders team, but the contenders team is mostly Chinese players. So
Yeah, that's interesting.
they're going to be the only 2 Korean speaking players on the team.
That is,
turnabout's fair play.
Figure
I
it
guess,
out,
right?
boys.
Yeah, turnabout's fair play. Now they'll know how Crystal and and Gushue feel, right?
Right.
Yep. All right, well, let's jump right into some games and let's talk about the craziness first. What is going on? What is the deal with the LA Valiant?
Anyone want to take this, or you guys want me to go for it?
We
Go
want
for
you to
it.
go for it.
All right, so I think it's a handful of things that why they've kind of turned the corner and why they're playing much better. The obvious ones, what was the move, right? They moved Fate over down to Florida and they picked up Shax and Fact from their academy team, which is it's crazy to see. Just real quick, let me caveat this: it is crazy to me that Shax and Fact have been playing so well for the Valiant on the main stage, and these guys were on academy. For
Well, hold on. Was it
Florida?
It wasn't it Fact Fiction and McGravy that were in the deal. Shax was just on the
No,
bench,
Shax was
I
on
think.
no, Shax was an academy kid too.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
was Fact Fiction. Fact
Yeah,
Fiction was
Shax
a
and Fact were
Yeah,
both on academy.
I knew for sure Fact, but for some reason I thought McGravy was in that deal.
Yeah, he is on the team. He's not part of the Valiant. He's the backup for Space right now.
Wasn't he
So
brought over from the Mayhem though?
he was on main roster.
Okay.
So they got 2 academy guys and the main roster guy for the Fate deal.
I
But
got you. It was 3.
it's insane to me that those 2 players are playing so well for the Valiant and helping the Valiant become a top tier team again. And they could have been they could have been playing for Florida this entire time.
Yeah.
Probably helping that Florida team be better. Like guys like those 2. Like I mean, think about it. You got those 2. You could have had McGravy apply. Like there's a good little Western roster there, but obviously Florida's decided to go Korean, so a little different. But anyway, to carry on. So those 2 have obviously made a direct impact on the roster. I think the tank play, especially the wrecking ball play from Fact, is significantly better than what we saw from Fate, which I think has helped them. I think the change in the meta is helping them as well. You get to see Agilities not playing Brigida all the time, which has helped him. I think it's actually helped his Brig play. I feel like he's significantly better on Brig than he was just 2 stages ago because I feel like he doesn't feel like he's trapped playing her all the time. So he's relaxed a little bit when he's asked to do it, I think. And then obviously Kareev is the Sandman right now and playing Anna at a level we haven't seen in a long time. So
8 sleeps, averaged 8 sleeps per. What was it? 8 sleeps per map.
Yeah, it's whatever it is.
It's 35 total, 8 sleeps per map in the Vancouver game. Like that's crazy.
So I think those things are the biggest reason why they've kind of gotten significantly better. Fact is clearly fitting them better. I think going Western has really helped them kind of settle in and figure out who they are and what they want to do. So
I love the playstyle they've been developing because you're right. Fact Fiction has fit really nicely in there, and I think he's solidified the squad. He's a very solid tank. I think that he can go toe to toe with a lot of tanks in the league, and only really gets a little shaky once you're talking about like Bumper, Super, and now Spark. That was their new test. But that being said, Shax has also been working amazing with them. That kid on the Sombra has done so much for the Valiant, and I love the aggressive style that they've been taking. And then putting Kareev on Anna has been working out so well for them too, where he plays it in such an aggressive manner. Like I haven't seen an Anna play like that before, where most of the cooldowns are defensive, except for those nades, those key nades, right? He plays like the long range sleep darts like I've never seen before.
It
I love
actually
it.
reminds me a lot of Rio J Hong back, in the Apex days.
Yeah, back in the day when he was getting those insane sleep darts and everything, like anything that popped on the screen, he was just like sleep.
yeah, no, I
Take
mean,
a nap.
I'm pretty sure Hacksaw is still having nightmares as Farah on Dorado as we speak. So
He's dreaming that he's dreaming in the dream, like Inception.
yeah,
No, I gotta wake up from this nightmare.
But yeah, so I think those are the biggest things that have really kind of helped turn the roster over. I'm really interested to see how things go with the new 222. I mean, it's crazy to think that right now we're talking about a starting 6 for the Valiant that doesn't even involve Space yet.
Yeah, it's kind of sad for Space.
No, I mean, I think he's just fine. I think he's being patient on purpose because he knows once the roll lock's coming, he's right back in. You'll be seeing a rotation probably of Shax, KSF, and Agilities, probably between Shax and KSF switching those hit scan rolls, while Agilities is still doing projectiles.
The thing about Space is that he's a fantastic diva, but that's it.
Well, he's got a really good Roadhog. Roadhog's actually probably his best hero.
Okay, Roadhog is actually in a pretty decent spot right now, but
yeah,
as far as I've seen him, he's always brought in
the
because
diva,
of the diva.
The diva,
and right now with Shax and basically being just perma Sombra and
correct,
just abusing her in this meta, I think that he is basically his spot has been taken because of meta, not because of him.
Correct. Exactly. I fully agree, and that's
Yeah.
kind of why I was saying. Like, I think he's understanding. He knows that that's kind of where the meta is currently, and that 222 is still coming, and he's just waiting for the change at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So
I also think Roadhog too. If he's a really good Roadhog, it's kind of like Roadhog's the off roll right now, though, right? Like you usually
Yeah.
still have your 2 tanks, and then one of your DPS or healers is playing Roadhog.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's gonna be interesting seeing. Have
What
we
these teams
seen
do
a
with these
tank
with these
play?
comps?
Yeah, have we seen a tank play Roadhog in the Overwatch League? Trying to think. It's usually the Zen player. I don't know that we've actually seen a tank play Roadhog.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but well, I mean, we'll see. I have a funny feeling that you're going to see a lot more diva as soon as we go back to 2-2-2.
Maybe,
even though
but
they
I
just
mean,
tried to nerf her again and get her out of the meta. But I
the
feel like
nerf
once we get back,
is huge though.
it's pretty massive. As a diva main, it hurts. That Matrix is almost useless now.
And the graphical change to the Matrix is huge too. Like that
Yeah.
really hurts.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
But,
go as far as to say useless, because it still has the
No,
same
I mean,
use, but it's
obviously,
it's a lot more limited. Yeah, and I think
Yeah, I mean,
that-
I was being a little facetious, but yeah,
Okay,
it's
okay,
yeah.
okay, no, I just want to reiterate there. Diva,
Of course,
Diva's
of course.
not dead.
No,
Just
not at all.
much less effective, and it's interesting how many nerfs she's gotten, especially to the Matrix, right? To just hone it in, and at this point is the weakest it's ever been. And
Yeah,
with Sombra out there, it's like
It's
Diva just
hard.
looks very unattractive at this moment. Yeah.
She does, yeah, she does. It's making me sad. Leave my poor girl alone. All right.
Well, we hope them continued success, especially for you, Victor. But we've also seen a huge change in just the 3-3-3. It's almost like nobody's running the straight 3-3-3. Even the Valiant switched over, and they benched Janu for a bit. They benched
Titans, you mean?
Titans,
Yeah,
Titans, you mean.
Titans. Sorry,
Yeah.
they benched Janu. They benched
Siaminsu.
Siaminsu for Stitch. They traded off, but Stitch stayed in the whole time. Stitch is their used to be their old school McCree player, really good hit scan, and so he's been playing the Sombra. So if they're going Sombra goats, I mean, I think the whole league is. I think they just said on the broadcast that Sombra goats is now used over 50% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think it's safe to say that Somber Goats is the meta. I think I was talking to somebody the other day about this at the arena, and they were basically saying that a lot of the teams seem to think that the hard counter to traditional goats is Sombra Goats, because that EMP is just so powerful right now that it shuts down a lot of the things that teams want to do with the standard goats compositions.
If only somebody had said that at the start of the season.
So,
right. I'm still just so happy about that foresight I had on the first episode.
So, but yeah, so I think that's why you're seeing that, and the teams that have figured that out are the ones that are having the most success, guys. Teams like Houston and LA, who, if you ask those two teams, they'll tell you they have the best Sombra players in the world in Dante and Shax. So,
I have a question for all three of you. How big do you think the radius for Sombra's EMP is?
Oh, it's massive. I saw a video on this the other day.
Yep.
It's huge.
Large.
It's
Yeah.
ginormous. With the workshop, they were able to make a mode where when you did it, you could see where it was.
And
I mean,
freezes. Yeah, it looks like a planet.
Yeah, it's
on the
like
point.
30. It looks like 30 in-game meters. It's nuts. So
Yeah, they actually popped it on Ilios, I think a university, and it basically covered the entire point.
yeah, it's probably going to need to get a little bit of a nerf, but I don't know. Going into 2-2-2, it's gonna everything's just gonna get weird. So,
Yeah, it's gonna be stage 4 is gonna be weird. It's gonna be fun to try to see who figures out what.
well. So
All I
okay,
want to say is, I think we need to see a copy of Stitch's birth certificate, because I'm sorry, there's no way that kid's 18. Have you seen him?
He is so
He
little.
looks like he's 12.
He is so little. Oh
He
my
is super-
gosh.
Leave that adorable man alone.
Oh my god, it's too much.
Oh.
And then comes out on stage, and I'm just like, what is happening right now? You're so cute.
You can never get over that now.
Yeah. And then he murders people. I'm like, oh god.
So with these massive meta changes, someone who didn't fare well this week was the London Spitfire, going 0-8, losing both of their matches 4-0. What are your thoughts on this? Jump in.
Classic London.
London, the on and off team. 1 week they're good, 1 week they're not. Granted, this was a pretty hard week for them. We're going against San Francisco, which they've never defeated. And they were also going up against LA Valiant, which is playing out of their minds. You could argue they're playing the best they've ever played. And right now, LA Valiant's style has been really hard to match. So far, only Spark has been kind of being able to keep up and edge them out. So I don't know. Tough week for them. Not surprised though.
What the
Yeah.
heck were they thinking subbing out Prophet for guard? I mean, I didn't think Prophet did bad on the Sombra when he was playing the Sombra. So I don't know what they were thinking subbing out one of the best players in the world for
Hey,
a
man,
pretty good
sometimes when you're-
Sombra.
Sometimes when you're searching for answers, you just find the wrong ones,
I feel like they
Um,
put Guard in though, and they put him in just on Sombra. So it's not like they had Guard like swapping off to play other things. And I think Guard was their Sombra like
At the start of the season. But I mean, I think
Yeah.
Prophet played it better. I mean, I think Prophet did better when Prophet was in. So I don't know why they thought they needed to bring in guard.
I don't know, I'd
Yeah.
have to see numbers on that.
Yeah. So my thought on the whole London Spitfire thing this week, and I think kind of this stage, it's kind of a conversation I had with Adam from Action Esports. Shout out to my boy Adam.
Adam.
He was kind of saying, and I didn't kind of put a lot of thought into it until he had mentioned it. Like, I think a lot of these teams that were kind of mid-tier teams, teams like Philly and London and Dallas, that were really starting to finally get a hang of goats and mastering goats and starting to gain momentum with their goats play, saw this sudden shift in meta out of nowhere, where now it's the Sombra goats that's the strongest in the league right now, and they're already behind now trying to figure out how to play that. And so I think a lot of those kind of teams, you're going to see a slide as teams like the Valiant and Houston are going to continue to climb upward and into the next stage.
Why? Because we
which-
never got good at goats, so like we're just like ahead of the game.
Well, that's I guess, yeah. I mean, that's kind of like we got tired of beating our head against the wall and said, we need to try something different. So, but yeah, and that's kind of what he was saying. And the more I think about it, the more I think he might have a really good point there.
Yeah, and we can. Houston likes to take the credit for setting the meta at the start of the stage, but I'm going to give the credit to Monty, who told him to do it long before that.
Monty would appreciate that.
Oh, so the Dynasty lost Fisher, but they didn't skip a beat. They went 3-1 against the Eternal and 3-0 against the Hunters, and so they went undefeated without the quote-unquote best tank in the league.
Well, I mean, Marvel hasn't looked bad this season. Like, everyone says that Fisher was so much better, but Marvel's looked pretty good when they put him in. So I mean, there's a reason they decided that it was okay to let Fisher go and to play Marvel.
Yep, I
Right.
agree.
Well, and I think they've been playing the Marvel roster quite a bit this stage, anyways.
have,
Right?
yeah,
So they
they
had
have.
been kind of swapping on and off, but for the most part, it was a lot of the Marvel comps. So I think it's not like they had easy games. I mean, they beat who they beat?
They
just
beat the
lost it.
Eternal and the Hunters, and the Eternal have been looking
Well,
better.
Yeah, but the Hunters. They beat the Hunters. I'm proud of them for that.
Yeah, the Hunters are weird. You just
They're very hot and cold.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know what
They're
to
they're
think.
very matchup dependent. Some teams
I
they
think-
like
I
they have
think
the edge,
that-
and then
You look maybe at the Hunters with rose-colored glasses sometimes, Mel, just because you like them. But
Yeah.
honestly, they are very mid-tier, if not lower-tier team, I think.
yeah,
Bye,
I
Get
I
out of
think
here.
I think I'm with him on that one. I think I'm with him on that one. But again, I think they're really there's a lot of matchups that suit them. There are some teams that they match up very well against.
I mean, they beat the Shock.
Exactly. I think they match up against that team well. Like those teams are a good matchup for them.
Just
They get
saying.
to do a lot of the things that they're really good at against those teams. And sometimes, map the maps they play matter. Like as happy I was that the Valiant beat Vancouver, a lot of that was not just because the Valiant played well, but the maps they got to play. So.
Well,
I
I
think
will
that-
say the
that,
Hunters are less enticing to watch right now because everybody's playing DPS. So it's not
Yeah.
like the game of the week that I get to see a DPS player.
Yeah, it's thank God. As a
Fair.
tank player, thank God.
Yeah. Going back to Seoul, though, I think that it's impressive for them to have such a solid roster at this point, right? Where even losing Fisher, one of the best tanks in the league, they're still good to go.
Yeah,
And I
didn't miss a
think
beat.
you go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, didn't miss a beat. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, they're still going on strong, and it speaks to the what we were saying, Bob, having that dual roster and the ability to be swapping those players and still be good, right? Players that are not the end all be all, and you have to play just with this. But now you have an extended roster. They're probably gonna be shopping for another main tank, so they can keep doing this. But
Yeah, I was kind of bummed about. That's the part I was bummed about. I was like, no, the dual roster.
but it's
Well-
paying off for them already.
Right. What do you guys think about they played highly instead of Ryu Hong like all week in both their games?
I think that's preparatory. I think this is the end of not because he's bad, but I think Ryu Hong's ready to retire. I think he's kind of looking towards his twilight as a player.
I think he's the oldest player in the league right now.
I
right?
think he is.
At
Yeah,
27?
I think
Coolmat?
he is
Is
at
Coolmat
the
still-
moment. Coolmat, no, Coolmat's older.
Yeah,
That,
Kumat.
I don't know. They're real close though. But
yeah, I think
Kumar plays Diva though.
I think
Who
Ryu
knows?
Hong's kind of, getting to his swan song, maybe getting a transition into coaching or something to that effect. I think this is, I have no evidence of this, and I think this is preparatory by Seoul. Like we need to get highly ready if he's going to be our future. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and Ryu Jae-hong, I mean, he's been super like hot and gold. I mean, that's the best way to say it. It hasn't been the best season for him. It wasn't even the best season one. He like struggled pretty hard on the Zenyatta most of the way through season one.
yeah,
I don't think he struggled
He
on
did?
Zenyatta. I think he just wasn't an outbreak player, right? Like he didn't look bad. He just didn't look great.
exceptional. Yeah.
All right, well,
And
here,
we were
then,
used to him looking great.
did you think Raucus looked good on Zenyatta? Because this
Leave
will answer.
Raucus
Well,
alone.
if you say yes, then I'll be like, okay, she just has a different view of looking good. But speaking
I
of
don't think
Raucus,
Raucus
let's talk about the Houston Outlaws. 3-0 against the Justice and 3-1 against the Defiant. And the Defiant game was kind of tense. And the Washington Justice, they just keep getting 3-0. They can always get that tie in there.
Yes. Washington Justice are very good at not getting 4-0'd.
Yep. They're better
Also
than
not
Dallas.
gaining maps. But I think the Justice one, it didn't surprise me. But when we went out on Oasis against Defiant, and Logix literally just destroyed everybody on our team. I was like,
And I told you.
what is happening?
I told you right before the match started, I was like, dude, Logis and Megachu playing is a scary deal because it's something they might not have been prepared for. They might not have known was going to happen. It's just like an unquantifying thing. And so I was scared for you. And then when he popped off, I was even more scared.
Yeah, and Mangachu looked good on the Farah all of Oasis, and I was getting a little nervous. They panned to the Houston Outlaws table, and they're all just sitting there with frowny faces on, and I'm like, pick it up, boys.
Yeah, body
Turn
language
those
not so
frowns
good.
upside down. We need some smiles in the house. Like, I mean, they do that when they tilt hard, and like they were tilted after map 1, and they brought it together in map 2. I think Mangachu kind of showed his streakiness in map 2. I think he was on Junkrat, and I don't think he had any kills for like the first half of that map. But it was a little terrifying. All the maps were a little bit closer than I would have liked to see. Linkster's
hold,
Widows
though.
kind of.
What about the hold on Oh, the moon base.
Horizon.
Horizon. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, the like 7-minute hold
Yeah.
because they capped the first point in like 0.5 seconds, and then we had to hold them for like 7 minutes. It was really insane.
Yeah.
To me, there's
Really
something
annoying.
exciting about that. I don't know why, but there's something fun about watching the team just hold a team for forever. I enjoy that.
I mean, it's fun when it actually works. It was
Yeah.
just nerve-wracking because I was afraid it wasn't going to work.
Like a momentum shift kind of
Well,
thing when you're like,
And there's been so many 2 CPs where someone is on defense first and they like hold it to 1.5 ticks. And then they're like, all right, we got this. And then they don't even get a tick when they go on offense. And it's just like, oh, that seems like to be the mega tilt for a lot of teams. Because
Yeah.
they're
That's
going into that second
Houston's
round
MO.
just knowing they're
That's
going
a
to
mega
win.
tilt for anyone.
Yeah.
Has that happened to you on the ladder?
Oh, yeah.
That
Oh,
never
yeah.
feel good.
oh yeah,
It's literally what Houston has done so many times, though, right? Like their defense has always been decent. Like they can do the bunker comp, they can defend. They just couldn't do anything when it was their turn.
True. True. But
Well, this
They-
week they found their groove back, and I think that
They
the
did.
Houston Outlaws have really found their style. I'm glad they're not forcing the traditional goats. I think that they are leaning on the Sombra, and it's working out really well for them right now. It's even opened up the playground for them to even play other heroes. We've seen Jake and Farah, and Linkster back and Widowmaker, and this is all thanks to that Sombra pick that's been
Yep.
integral. And I think it was a big choice from them, right? To have to cut back on the roster that they've been used to playing, especially Cool Matt, that I imagine has been such a pillar for the team. And sometimes it's hard to see beyond that, right? Like, oh, maybe we gotta put him on the bench and put Dante on the Sombra and forget
Right.
about Diva and break the meta this way. And like Bob was saying, I don't think that they were necessarily like visionaries over here. They were like, oh, Sombra, finally we see the light. I think that Sombra was already strong, but what makes them strong is the way that they're playing it and the synergies that they're finding around her, right? Because not
Mhm.
every team right now is having a good time with the Sombra, aka Atlanta, my team. Um, we don't
Yeah.
do good with the Sombra. When we pulled it out, we've actually looked even worse than with our goats. I think we're a more brawly goats oriented teams. If you bring goats to us, we'll fight you any day and you'll be scared of us. But if we bring out the Sombra, it doesn't quite happen like that. But Houston, it works out really well. Dante has it figured out, and I think that the team knows what Dante wants to do, and it's working out really well, even after he falls off the abyss on Dorado.
Oh
Yep.
my god. I was like,
Pulling a
I just remember
BQB.
watching it and the casters are like, I don't think that was on purpose. Let's take a look at what happened there.
No, that
It
was
was
not on
like
purpose.
right before the doors opened, too, right?
The worst.
Apparently,
Oh,
he was
come
giving
on.
a very motivational speech to the team,
Uh-huh.
and he was not looking where he was going.
Your
Yeah.
motivational speech just bombed, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
I
we
don't
can
know.
do this. Oh, sorry guys. Yep,
Yeah.
we'll do it at point
Yeah,
2.
Oh man.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
have to
do
work
think
on those
they
speeches a
did
little more.
seal
Yeah, right.
they did seal up their spot for the stage 3 playoffs. They'll be the first playoffs
did.
they've been in for a while, so that's pretty cool.
I do think just a couple things to talk about. First, can we give Jake a little bit of credit because he's played Tracer and it hasn't looked trash?
He's looked pretty good on Tracer. I was actually impressed. He must have worked really hard on that in the off season.
I think it just takes Jake
He was
time.
like, they'll never call me a bad tracer again. They'll see.
But dude,
I'll
Yeah.
show him.
He's back there begging. He's like, please let me go Tracer. I've been working really hard and I got a lot of ground to make up on. Oh, and then I
I
think,
loved how he came out
Yeah.
on Orisa too. Like he came
Yeah.
out on Orisa. Linkser played the Bastion, and that
On
was
Horizon.
interesting. Yeah, that was the Horizon D that they had that great hold. That was pretty cool.
yeah, it was really good. I think that Raucus's Ana looks much better than his
Oh yeah,
Zen did.
I used to watch a lot of his streams in the off season, and it seemed like he was always playing Ana in the off season. So
hmm
he clearly was working on it, and it's paid off because man, he's looking good.
I
You know,
think
it's-
he's
it's-
always been a good Ana player. I
Yeah,
just think
no, yeah.
Ana was just not played.
Yeah, it's when you look at the Valiant in the Outlaws, there's a lot of similarities. I kind of hope we get to see those two play each other in the playoffs, just for the sake of seeing it. because I feel like they do a lot of the same things. So I want to see that just for my own selfish reasons.
Other
So
than that, though, can we look at Bonnie? Like, we're playing a lot of Mercy now, and I'm just saying, Boink is better at Mercy now, but he's still Boink, okay? And Bonnie was really good at Mercy, so I think we need to,
Boink's
assess the
Mercy looks
situation
a
here.
lot better though.
It does look a lot better. I just have nightmares about his Mercy last season.
Yeah, because he
so-
was always the first to die, but that's not
like, he
been the
didn't even know how to
case.
stay in the air. I was like, what are you doing? Why are
Yeah.
you on the ground next to Reinhardt?
And I don't know that you want to push that kind of change when Jake's doing so good on the Farah with the
Yeah.
Boink
No, I agree.
pocket.
I know. I just have to say something negative about Boink and his Mercy. Like, it's just the way it has to be. But last thing, Linkser. Linkser's Widow, what do you guys think? Because it's
He
been
was
kind
off
of hot
this
and
week.
cold. I think it's been kind of hot and cold, right? Like, he has his moments where he's still hitting really good shots. It's not like I still think Linkser cold on Widow is still better than a lot of other Widows, but it hasn't looked spectacular. Thoughts?
I think that's just time on Widow, right? Like Widow's one of those characters. The more you play, the better you get, right? So I think if once he starts playing more Widow, if like maybe next stage we start seeing a lot of the traditional dive with this 2-2-2 roll lock, because it's everything that nobody knows what to do with 2-2-2, so we just see dive come back, and you see a lot of Widow. Who knows? But
Maybe.
Yeah,
So-
and I don't know. As a Widow player, sometimes it's just hard to tell because it depends on how the enemy team is playing too. Sometimes they just don't give you that many opportunities.
yeah, you're not getting any
Sometimes
space.
the logic blows your head off before you can even look around the corner.
Sometimes the other Widows just playing out of their minds. Like when you're in the flow with Widow, you're in the flow, and maybe Linkser
Mhm.
was not in that state of mind, and Logic was just like he had a good meal that day, had a good night's sleep.
First game in a while, ready to pop.
Yeah, exactly. He was feeling good, and
Screaming
I
Bren
don't-
beforehand, so he was like ready to go. He's like, I own.
Yeah, cashed in all those scrim bucks at once.
Yeah. Bren's like the motivator. He's like, hey guys, you want to feel like you're good on Widow?
Yeah, I wouldn't discount Linkser though. This is just the regular roller coaster of Widow play.
Yeah, I think so too.
So moving on to the Dallas Fuel nosedive, they kind of like looked a little better this week. They came out 2-0 on NYXL, but then they got reverse swept. It's just kind of a bummer for them. I don't know that there's really much to talk about. Okay, there's one thing to talk about. Taimu played, okay, and Taimu popped off for the first 3 games, and then they benched him and put in AKM, and I don't know if that was the smartest play. I mean, AKM's one of my favorite players, but why?
You mean the first 2 games, right?
I thought he played 3 games.
Because didn't they get reverse swept?
Yeah,
did, yes.
but they lost the
Okay,
last
they
map that
lost
he
one.
was
Okay,
in.
okay. Gotcha. Yeah, Taimu was looking good.
Real
they finally
good.
freed Taimu. I think he had something to prove and wanted to show everybody that he's definitely not washed up and still as good as ever. And I don't know, maybe they should have just left him be for the rest of the
Yeah.
round and see what happened.
Ride
Yeah,
the
and
momentum kind of thing.
as Loki points out in chat, and I definitely agree, Taimu Sombra does look way better than AKM's. I mean, and I just don't, I just don't know. I don't think you take people out when they're hot. I think you leave them in.
Taimu also has an incredible game sense. He's not just a player that pops off and is mechanically good and can play Widow, but he is also an incredible Roadhog, for example. And I've seen him
Roadhog,
played
McCree.
tanks, for example, Diva. He can play McCree, and I think that he just in general understands the game really well. And that's what takes to play a good Sombra. You not only have to be, mechanically good. Honestly, the mechanics in Sombra are not even that important because you're not like Tracer, right? Like, yeah, you can get behind, and as long as your tracking is good, which AKM is, you can kill people. But that's not her main purpose, right? Her main purpose is getting in the mind of the enemy team.
It's game
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah, blocking those key plays, right? Getting the EMP right when it's needed and getting it constantly,
Yeah.
and
Making sure the
learning how
main
to do
tank,
that.
making sure the main tank has a terrible time.
Mhm.
Exactly, and I think that Taimu, he knows that, and he can pull off the Sombra because of that.
Yeah, and
Um,
one thing we did get to see, which was cool, was Harry Hook in again. So Unko, I guess I found out clarification on the Unko thing. He has special types of contacts, and he basically lost one, and he had to order it. Uh, but so
Big
like
oof.
Were
he
they back
got
in?
it, and Harry still got to play. I think Harry really proved himself last week with his Ana play that he deserved a shot to play.
Play again.
Yeah, Harry looked good on Ana. But can we talk about the most important thing about Fuel? The
What?
Doomfist 1v1 with Mickey versus OG.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, seriously, guys, if you're going to talk about Fuel, that's the only thing to talk about.
That
And
went the
my-
distance too.
Yeah. My favorite, though, was at the beginning when they're introducing him and or they ask OG, what do you think the score's going to be? And he said, I'll just make it 7-5. Mickey needs to be on the stage some. I want to let Mickey be on the stage for a little bit while.
Yep.
It was such a burn.
Oh man, yeah,
Uh,
and it was a real close match. It was first to 7, and it ended 7-6.
Yeah,
So, it
and
came
when
down
Mickey
to
gets
it.
the score, he's like, I guess it would be 5-2. And their desk is like, I don't think he understands the best 2-7 because nobody got to 7 in his score.
Oh shoot.
It
my
was
my
good.
my thoughts on Dallas are pretty simple, right? Like, I don't think you should read too much into this loss. You guys lost on a reverse sweep to a team that's second place in the league, quietly, by the way, second place in the league. Like, when you talk about the top teams in the league, you're hearing, Vancouver, the Shock. You're hearing some people say Hangzhou. Not a lot of people talking like about New York like they're one of the top teams when they clearly are. So like, you don't need to read too much into that. Plus, you guys,
I mean, you didn't get 4-0'd, so
yeah,
I mean,
and
you're showing progress.
and your main tank, is still settling in. He's still figuring out the Overwatch League.
He looked a
Which-
lot better too.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's going to take time. Like, Contenders is a different level. I don't care what anyone tells you about how good the Contender scene is. It's very good. It's not the Overwatch League. It's different up at the top.
The Titans would beg to differ with you.
Well, the Titans are a little different too. They're a whole roster. Bringing a player in and having one player, that's a different thing. I mean, look at
Very
Zachary.
different.
It took Zachary a while too. Like, he took him, a good time to settle in. Like, it's
Are
not
you
every day that
implying Zachary is settled.
I think so. Yeah, I think he looks good.
If Zachary could just hit a freaking Junkrat ult, though. I mean, he played well on Junk, but man, his ult usage was just horrid.
Yeah,
Maybe he
It
should
was
talk
the
to Jake.
Distracto tire. It was
Distracto
like,
tire.
hey, look over here, shoot me.
yeah,
But
right.
I got the second part of it where somebody was supposed to be doing something on the other side, right? So it's a little bit of a miscommunication there.
But no, I think there's a few different factors on why that game went the way it did, and I don't think Dallas needs to worry too much.
Yeah,
At
it
least
was
not
it was a tough stage, but who
We've
else
all
do you
been
guys
there.
want to talk about? The Fusion.
Wow.
I mean, the Fusion's bouncing back and playing DPS is good for them.
Yeah, I think the saddest story is Boston Uprising.
Uh-huh.
Fusions has
Yeah.
honestly been pretty. I don't even want to say mid-tier. They've been like pretty solid, like almost top 5. Aren't they close to? I don't want to say top 5, but they're probably like up there, like 6 or 7.
They
at the
In
lowest.
were.
in the standings, you talking about Fusion?
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
seventh right. They're seventh right now, 11-8, -1
7.
differential.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. So
There's a few
I
people
mean,
that haven't played though a lot of games, so that could change quite a bit.
Okay,
Yeah,
they're
they
hanging
still-
in there. Boston, on the other hand, man, they're going down the deep end. I think that there's been some doubt planted in why am I blanking out on his name right now?
Fusions.
Fusions. I'm talking about Fusion and then Fusion.
I know it's so
Fusion, yeah.
confusion. It's so confusion. I just said it's so confusion. Unreal, dude. Unreal.
You couldn't have planned that better if you tried.
I
Bob.
know, dude. I just made something really cool up on accident. It was a slip, but confusions is definitely the word.
Fusions is confusions right now. I think that he's having a hard time, and he's having a loss of identity because he's known as the Reinhardt, right? And right now his team is struggling, and because they've tried going some other stuff, he's been forced to go on the ball, and I don't think he feels as home as he feels on Reinhardt on the ball, for example. So his team is struggling to adapt to the meta. I think that maybe management and coaching have been struggling to find a new way out, and it kind of sucks for them because the coach that just left them is actually doing wonders with Vancouver Titans right now. So it's kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think as Loki's calling out in the chat, I don't. They're one of those teams I was kind of talking about where they really started to get this 3-3 thing figured out, and now that the meta is shifting, it's just they're not quite ready. I don't think they're ready for it, and I think that's the reason they're struggling. I mean, if you look at the standings, like they have the third worst map differential, not the third worst record, but third worst map differential in the league right now. The only two teams that are worse are Washington and Florida. I mean, they're also tied with Toronto on map differential, but like Toronto's going through a huge roster shift. Boston isn't. Boston's just struggling to change to this meta. Toronto's trying to change to the meta and get adapt to new players. So those are two different teams doing different things right now. So it's I don't know. Boston's in trouble. They gotta figure some stuff out.
Yeah. It's just kind of sad.
What do you think about Gladiators though? Like Gladiators have like such good games, but when they play like the best teams,
I'm just kidding.
when they play like the best teams, they really struggle. Like, I mean, they couldn't even take a map against Titans, and I know it's the Titans, but like the Titans have shown they're not unbeatable.
Unbeatable, yeah.
Gladiators are a super solid team. Don't get me wrong. I think that their management is doing good. I think that their players are pretty decent. But Gladiators have not found an X factor. I don't think that they've found some way to kind of like break loose and abuse the meta how some of the other teams have. But Vancouver Titans and San Francisco Shock really exploited the GOATS meta. Like they really took it to their advantage and they played it so well, and their players were so organized in their cooldown management, positioning, and all these other aspects that they really rose to the top and differentiated basically from everyone else in the league. So much so that no one else could match them for a while. They had to find a way out. And I think that even as some teams have found a way out and a way to defeat them, they have taken notice of that and they're still adapting. And I think that Gladiators just haven't found that one thing that can take them to the top. They're just solid players overall, but I don't know. I don't know if they have developed a style or something that can break through long enough to maintain them at that level. So I think that for now, until the 2-2 changes, because then it's open grounds, right? Like you never know what's gonna happen there.
It's gonna be nuts.
But until then, they're gonna be confined to kind of like that middle of the pack kind of team, right? Where they can everyone below top 10. I think that Gladiators can take on rather easily at the moment. But everyone above top 10 is gonna be a battle for them.
Right, like they lost to New York 0-3 back in May. They lost to Vancouver 1-3. They lost to Vancouver again 0-4, right? Like when they go against those top teams, yes, they can beat Toronto 4-0. They can beat Washington 4-0. They can beat, Philly 3-1 when they were kind of struggling. But I think when it comes down to it, when it's like the clutch moment, also, I mean, I will give it to him. Titans brought in Stitch, who we have not seen on Sombra, and it looked like that was, something they had been working on. So I think that really threw him for a loop against the Titans. But they've got to figure out something, because just being able to beat the mid-tier and below teams isn't going to escalate you to that next level.
I think their team's not in love with the Sombra Goats either, which I think is. I mean, let me preface this. Surefour loves Sombra. He said it in the comms thing when they did the team comms. Everyone on the team was like, "I don't like Sombra," and he's like, "I love Sombra."
To be fair, he loves every hero.
He loves Sim too.
Yeah, that's true.
Does not
But
mean he's good or should play them.
He's a
but
lover,
yeah,
not a
no.
hater.
I think the Gladiators are going to be fine. I think I don't are they the upper echelon of teams? No, they're probably that second tier. But I can change it. It's everything's up for grabs in about a month. So
Yep.
Do you
And
think,
what? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, do you think Shock's on their way down too? I mean, Shock lost another game to the
um,
Hunters.
a little bit. I think a little. I think Vancouver, the Shock. I mean, those teams that are just like the goats heavy teams. I mean, Paris, as you've seen, has taken a pretty bad nosedive lately. Um, I think those teams are struggling to adapt a little bit. I don't think that they're gonna. I think Shock out of those teams we've mentioned are probably gonna have the easiest fall, mostly because just the talent level of the players on their team. I think they'll be able to adjust, but
I don't know.
I don't. I don't think
I,
that they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna be world beaters still.
I think that they're still gonna be at the top of the meta, even though Sombra has been breaking them a little bit. And I think Houston was a huge wake up call for San Francisco Shock, where
I agree.
they thought they had the meta figured out, and they were used to other teams beating them on their own terms, on GOAT's terms. And then suddenly you have this team that is completely playing it differently and abusing the Sombra and has figured out San Francisco Shock, and they didn't see that one coming. But now they
Correct.
know that that is a weak point that they have. And to be fair, the Sombra Goats is really good, and it's good for teams that can play it well. But
Yes.
Diva Goats is not dead, and I think
No,
that
not at all.
for the teams that can play Diva Goats really well at the level that San Francisco and Vancouver are playing it, it's still going to be a matchup of who performs better, right? Who executes
Right.
better? Can they
Ooh.
Yeah.
read the Sombra? Can they stop the EMP? Can they Zen hide before that happens? Can the Diva eat the Gravitons that one team is not going to be able to eat because they're not running the Diva? That is what's going to make the difference for those teams. And at the level that they're playing it, that is what you gotta meet them on. So I think that as far as meta goes, they're still at the top.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the other thing that they're doing that's kind of clever too is when they see those teams aren't playing a diva, they immediately run a Batiste, and then they know that they can just amp Matrix grab and just melt anything in front of them because there's no diva to eat that Matrix, or I mean to eat that grab. So I
Yeah.
think San Fran's going to be okay. I think I don't know if San Fran or Vancouver are going to win this stage. I think we're going to see a new champion this stage, but I don't think they're going anywhere. I think they're just fine.
Rascals Baptiste is
Sick.
on point.
It's good. It's
Something
really good.
something weird we've seen is when someone comes out on the Sombra Goats, I've seen them swap the Zarya for a diva because the other team's running a ball projectile spam comp, and so they're swapping over to the diva to just eat up the spam. I don't know. I don't think it's worked all that well for most of the teams that have tried it, but that's something interesting we've seen here in this last week also. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Any other teams here?
No Atlanta for me this week. So
Yep.
I'm just sending my thoughts and prayers over to the team right now. I'm hoping that they're preparing well. I know
Enjoying
that
the-
Baby Bay was a little distracted on Twitter battling Bren over there. So hopefully he's still focusing hard because we really have to have our stuff together for the home games. We got a lot of fans coming out to that venue. It's gonna
Are
be
you-
really fun.
I'm just gonna assume you're going, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely gonna be there like every day this week.
You
Yeah.
excited?
Oh, I'm super excited. I can't wait.
Yep.
We're also
all
mean,
I'm pretty
all
up
Andres
for it.
three
has
of us.
2 new roommates for the weekend.
Hey.
Yeah, next home game is gonna come too, dude.
Yeah, next time we'll have to figure it out. I'll have to figure that out. I'll have to make a trip out to the East Coast. I ain't been out there in a long time.
Yeah, you should go to the grand finals because none of us are able to go.
Yeah, maybe. I'll make a call.
Mel, was there any other teams that you wanted to hit on? The Mayhem continue to be in Mayhem. Dragons are still looking good.
Yeah. I think we hit on most of the good games. I think Eternal's still kind of crappy.
The
Yeah.
I don't really want to hit on any
Charge is
team
still crappy.
in particular, but I do want to talk about real quick how close the league is as far as standings. I mean, if you look at it, like Dallas is sitting at 10 right now with 10 wins. They're 10 and 11. Guangzhou is 18 and they're 7 and 12. They're only a few games behind. Like they could pretend like the difference between 10 and 18 right now is like a game and a half.
Yeah, it's really
and
scary.
Like pretty much like nobody is out of it as far as season playoffs go outside of I guess Washington and
Washington
and Florida.
are out. I believe that said they were eliminated.
But like everybody else, there's still a shot and they're still swinging for it, that's absolutely nuts. Like that's crazy how close it is right now.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I was hoping it's always funny because when I'm watching teams that I don't really care about, and one of them's got more wins and less losses, and the other one has less wins and more losses. I always want the one with less wins to win to keep Dallas closer to being able to make it in.
So I'm that's funny. I'm on the opposite side. Every time I'm like, oh, I see a team ahead of the standings, I'm like, that team has to lose today.
I just want to keep it like, the Titans, New York, San Francisco. I'm not too worried about, but everybody else, I need them to need them to even out, so Dallas can sneak in there at the end. Let's hope that they can make that happen. So next week we're doing the home game. I want to remind any listener that we'll have some cute but deadlies to pass out to the first people that say hi to us. So come up and say hi. We encourage you to follow us on Twitter. You can follow us at AlRecap. If you want to say something a little bit longer, please send your emails to contact@alrecap.com. You can also find us in the Omnic Lab Discord. That is discord.me/OmnicLab. We had game night this last Friday. It was pretty cool. iPlay was there for a bit. I was there for a bit. Mel didn't show up.
Listen, Houston played last game of the night or something. Like, leave me alone. I had
It was
to
a fun
prepare
game night.
myself.
I had a lot of fun. I was there from like 8 to 12 Eastern. We played some workshop games, and then we went super hardcore. We had a super good Genji and Tracer in lobby. At what point they ended up in the enemy team.
Oh,
I had to
yeah.
go Brigitte. I felt a little dirty, but we contained them. We contained them.
Yes, we did. Also, we stream live every Monday night, usually right at 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock
10
Eastern. Yep. And you can find that at twitch.tv/AlRecap. You can, of course, always find us on almost all of the podcast platforms. Just search Al Recap or search Overwatch League. You should be able to find us pretty easy. You can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Al Recap. We've got a lot of interviews up now, and if you didn't catch them when we put them out, usually a good half of our questions are timeless questions that that are stuff about their past and stuff about them that's not particularly about the games that just happened. So definitely check those out because they've been getting pretty good, and our man Brick Victory just keeps getting better and better. So definitely check them out, guys.
Thrill mentioned that he loved the Gamsu one, which, by the way, Gamsu did the whole interview in English and did a really great job. So,
Yep.
I was a big fan of that one too. That was one of my favorites. I agree with Thrill.
You can support us by just listening to the show and telling your friends. You can go a step further and leave us a rating or review on iTunes or your podcatcher of choice. If you feel compelled to help us out more, you can go to patreon.com/AlRecap. All right. Did I miss anything? I don't think I did. Where can we find you, Mel?
you can find me on Twitter at MelOverwatch.
And where can we find
And-
you? What?
Oh.
And you should follow me on Twitter so that you can hear about all the really cool things that we're going to do in Atlanta this weekend.
Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys, we have VIP to the after party.
Ooh.
So
Ooh, VIP.
big time, pretty cool. And then iPlay, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter as well at iPlayGames. You spell that IPLAI Games, and follow me for Atlanta Homestead Games too, because I'll be there with Mel and Bob having VIP fun.
And Victor, where can we find you?
You can find me on almost all major socials, Twitter, Instagram, and as well as Twitch. I stream pretty regularly on Twitch. Don't forget, check that out. At Brick McVictory. That's Brick MC Victory. Yeah, come hang out. We always like more people in the chat. Plat chat level.
And if you want to see the exciting stuff in Atlanta, like I play and Mel are probably the ones to follow. But if you want to follow me anyhow, you can find me on Twitter at Blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. We thank you guys for coming out with us, and in excitement for the Defran festivities this week. Let's go, dude!
Let's go, dude!
Don't forget Twitch Prime.
Twitch Prime got me popping off, dude.